Baik, anda bersama saya Nara Osman dan kini saya berada di Bangsa Soft Kuala Lumpur di mana akan berlangsung tidak lama lagi iaitu iNasia Global Summit 2024. Persidangan tahunan yang telah dianjurkan oleh MRANTI setiap tahun dan kita lihat acara ini bertujuan untuk menghubungkan pemimpin utama termasuk juga dengan penggiat industri untuk membincang atau membawakan topik-topik mengenai bidang teknologi dan juga inovasi. Dan kita lihat persidangan ini akan diadakan selama 3 hari di Bangsa Soft Kuala Lumpur dan paling penting ia telah membawakan tema berteraskan misi ataupun driven mission yang membawa maksud bahawa apa-apa perkara ataupun perancangan pelaksanaan dilakukan harus mendatangkan impak yang positif. Sudah tentu niaga AWANI bersiaran di luar hari ini. Kita akan bawakan tetamu yang akan bersama saya iaitu Datuk Dr. Rais Hussin Mohamed merupakan Ketua Pegawai Eksekutif MRANTI. And again, I want to say thank you very much, Datuk, for joining me. Firstly, this is a yearly event and we hope for this event to be bigger and better and stronger and bring more positive impact. Maybe firstly, maybe you can share with us this year's objective for iNasia Global Summit 2024. What are the highlights?
Thank you so much for having us here. And it's also important that we have been hosted by the most premier news station and also most trusted news station. The iNation Global Summit 2024 focuses in bringing people together, not only from the science and technology innovation space, but every part of the ecosystem. And they get together here to understand, to appreciate what are the trends, what's happening now, what's going to be happening in the few years to come. Now, the most important part of this conference is that there are many conferences that is organized many places. What we want to differentiate ourselves is we want a conference that brings outcome and impact to the society, the nation, and the people. It's very important because in that sense, we have aggregated and congregated many of the scholars, many of the practitioners, many of the ecosystem players, both regionally, Malaysia, globally. We have people from countries like Sweden ranked number 2 in the Global Innovation Index. We have people from India who's doing extremely well in agri-tech. We have people from China, we have people from UK. This ranked number 1 for IoT, AI and so on. So these guys get together, exchange ideas, exchange views, working towards solution. At the end of the day, at the end of this particular summit, which we will like to make an annual event, we want to find working, credible solution and waypoints. We do not want it to be another conference, another summit without any outcome and impact.
All right, that is the main objective for iNation Global Summit 2024. Datuk, but in your opinion, POV, what are the things or the key points that Malaysia needs to address from the perspective of technology and even innovation?
I think Malaysia has started very early in the space of technology and innovation. If you remember, in the mid-80s, we started with the multimedia super corridor. But have we been going and doing in the right trajectory? The trajectory is right. Perhaps the implementation, there were some gaps. So now we need to elevate, we need to fast track, we need to really identify what are the specific things that we need to do. We all talk about digital transformation. We look at the contribution of to the GDP. If you look at the digital economy, the GDP contribution in 2023 is about 23.5%. And we think it will hit, forecasted to hit 25% of our GDP. This is a big numbers, very big numbers. Then we have in terms of our own front, technology, science and innovation. And in the innovation, we've been improving by leaps and bounds in Malaysia. We have the Global Innovation Index. When you talk about Global Innovation Index, a judge validates where our trajectory in terms of innovation. And we look at that, we've been improving. The last year was 36, this year is 33, and we hope we will move towards the 30th position. This is important because without innovation, without digitalization, without R&D must be our staple food. Every day we must talk about R&D because without R&D there's no innovation. Without innovation, we will not go in the technology space innovation. Now we talk about many things in the area of technology, science and innovation. We talk about food security, we talk about agri-tech, we talk about health tech. There are many technologies. All this can be done only if we have the right strategy, the right implementation, and more importantly, the right execution.
And Datuk, you mentioned that from different background, key leaders, from industry players, agencies, and we can say innovators will be here to discuss what are the real challenges and how can we accelerate innovations and even technology. And you mentioned the Global Innovation Index that we hope to achieve 33 by this year. But what some of the key areas that Malaysia need to improve to climb higher, and how can this summit address the gap, and where can we see from Malaysia as an added value or more a value creator in this situation?
See, this morning is a very brilliant morning. Why? Because Liverpool beat Manchester City last night or early this morning 2-0 to go up 11 points in the Premier League. Now, why I'm talking about Liverpool-Manchester City match? If you look how Liverpool have been following the trajectory, there are three components: data, science and economics. When you talk about data, they have one of the most complete data on players. Any talent acquisition goes through the data points. Science, they employ science in terms of not only preparing the team, also preparing for the opponent. And economics, they don't overpay for players like some other teams. And they are doing extremely well. Likewise, what Malaysia needs to do, we need to be driven by data. We need to have sufficient data. We need to let data to dictate where we go. And at the same time, we need to have a very important waypoints, the trajectory. Where do we want to do? How do we want to do? And these are the things that is necessary. And with people like who's attending in today's 3 days summit, we will have those gaps being identified, those gaps clearly articulated, and at the end of this summit, we will have like 10 waypoints, 10 ideas, so to speak, like 10 commandments, where Malaysia, as a country, as a nation, again, spearhead in the area of technology, science and innovation. Challenging, yes. Exciting, yes, but more importantly, it is doable.
Is it doable? That is very important. That is the focus moving forward. And talking about in the Malaysian context, you've talked about the data, and I want to add more on the data topic, where how can Malaysia strengthen its innovation ecosystems, definitely to compete globally in the emerging of AI, data, blockchain, and even quantum physics.
This is where I've been talking quite a bit, or we've been talking quite a bit, in the area of R&D, in the area of education. We need to have the right education policies. We need to have the right education curriculum. In China, for instance, who are spearheading the area of AI, we see very clearly that they do reviews of AI, or even in the technology science innovation, curriculum review, every 6 months.
Wow.
And every 6 months, because we all know what is very modern today, very advanced today, can be very old by tonight.
Yeah.
So that's rapid. And AI, everybody talks about AI, artificial intelligence. We all know that GPU, once upon a time, they go super fast, few 100,000, few months ago, few million, and soon it's going to be trillion. It's a super fast solution. Every issues, and to the extent today, artificial intelligence can also detect the nuance. Usually, artificial intelligence remains artificial intelligence because it's input-output. But today, it also has the capability of nuance. So someday to come, instead of having a medical doctor performing certain things, now AI will determine, based on all the data, within split second, what is the best. Even as we speak, more than 800 million jobs are being affected by AI. So are we prepared? Malaysia prepared? Is a global prepared? This is where the Ministry of Higher Education, the Ministry of Education must start rethinking, reinventing our curriculum from primary. I had an opportunity to listen to this founder of NVIDIA, who is in the forefront in AI, in producing GPUs and so on. And he's saying, things are going to be completely changed, 360 degrees. So for that, are we prepared? I think we have the right wherewithal, right abilities, right ingredient. We can do it. Tinggal lagi, we must focus on revamping, reviewing, recalibrating the curriculum. We cannot prepare workforce for yesteryears. We have to prepare workforce for future.
All right. Talking about the right ingredient, the right steps, definitely we need the right solution to address any of challenges, gaps within the technology and innovations, and other specific culture, or we can say the challenges or resistance to change within Malaysia that can hinder the growth of innovation-driven economy.
You either join the team, learn the new things, understand what is surrounding on ground reality, or you'll be left behind.
Correct.
We have no choice. And that is why it is very important we continuously track the trends, what is happening in the world, even especially in the area of technology, science and innovation. Are we there? If we are not there, what are the steps that needed to be taken? And we have scholars here. We have a person who's ranked #1 in the world for IoT, AI, who's going to speak on AI. We have people who are in the food security space, who's going to talk about food security using FOIA. And there are many, we have a person from India who single-handedly revolutionized agri-tech in India. So these are the real people. These are the one who has done it, been there. This is not some Mat Saleh coming here, smattering of English and everybody laugh. No, this is going to be a real conference, real summit with actionable based on outcome and impact.
Talking about the agri-tech, what's your aspiration for the national food security?
See, Malaysia, if you look at the statistics, depending which statistics you want to follow, generally speaking, last year we have registered 85 billion ringgit worth of import.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Right? That's a lot of money. 85 billion ringgit for a population of 35 million Malaysian and 5 million foreigners. Now, even if you take chili, we in Malaysia, without chili, we die. Because chili is an important ingredient for everything, right? And yet, we import 73% of our chili. If you talk about rice, we import, the self-sufficiency is about 48%. Of course, they talk about 63%, but the delta is smuggled from Thailand.
Okay.
And you look at meat, 85%. You look at dairy product in the high 90s. We practically import everything. So what do we need to do? Where are we ranked in the Global Food Security Index? And what are those countries who are successful in the ranking of Global Food Security Index? Where they are? What are they doing? Can we do it? Of course we can do. We have a very fertile ground. We have people who are willing to work. Only that we have to put all those components in place. This year, if we follow last year's trajectory, we will be hitting about 125 billion ringgit.
Wow.
I was in India recently, in Hyderabad, as well as in Telangana. It's one area in Andhra Pradesh. India, they have 1.475 billion people. Yet, and they eat a lot of rice. Yet, they export 25 million metric ton in the world.
Wow.
One of the largest.
Yes.
So why can they do that? You remember, the challenges are the same. They have droughts, we have droughts in the north. They have rainy weather, we have rainy weather. So what did they do? When you look at the way the variety of rice that they have, almost 1,975 different variety. And then when they do, they use science a lot, technology, science and innovation. They use something called genetic editing. They take parents 1, parents 2, and then they disintegrate it into 98 different genetics or DNA, and then get rid of those that is weak and all that, and come up with the super rice. And this is how their harvest per hectare is about 7 to 17 metric ton. We harvest in Kedah is about 3 to 4 metric ton. We harvest in Skinchan about 5 to 6 metric ton per hectare. These guys are doing 7 to 17 metric ton. You see the difference? And with all the 48% self-sufficiency in terms of food, rice is a staple food. Malaysia, kalau tak ada nasi, kita mati. So we need rice. So what happens? We learned the hard way during the COVID when there was a blockade. What happened? We had to go to India to practically beg for rice. And that's how we managed to, because there were two problems at that time. Due to natural demand and panic buy, there were no rice. So we have to go to India and to get it. And look at another country that successfully came up with these food security issues, Qatar. At one time, they went through a blockade. There was no food, nothing. And they practically import every food. Remember, this is a desert country. Today, they are exporting dairy products, they're exporting meat, they're exporting vegetable, exporting chicken. This is a desert country. How did they do it? 4IR. It is technology, science and innovation. That is why when MOSTI, the Ministry of Science and Technology Innovation, have mandated Technology Innovation Park Malaysia / MRANTI to spearhead the addressing the food security using 4IR. So we are the agency who've been entrusted with that. And we are championing the cause of two things. Number one, making food security as a national security agenda. And number two, we want eventually the establishment of Malaysian Food Security Agency. Why? Every country that ranked in the top 10 of the Global Food Security Index ada dia punya food security agency. And their focus is primarily on food security. And do we have? We maybe have 50, 60 agencies. I think they need to talk more to each other.
And definitely we not only need a better strategy to learn and adapt from other countries that you just shared the experience from India, from Qatar, and maybe Malaysia can learn and adopt and within the local context. And probably what can we learn, especially from the public and even the private sector, to boost or to, we can say, advocate for stronger policy to support innovations and even sustainable development.
We have many, many policies over the years. We have, if I remember correctly, 6 or 7 different dasar pertanian negara over a period of time. And then we have one pelan tindakan keterjaminan makanan. It is not lack of plan, lack of dasar or policy. The proof of the pudding is in the execution. Are we meticulously executing this? And if you look at the statistics, 70 to 80% of the food on the table is now being done and prepared by the smallholders. Are we providing the area for them to be able to do that and continue to do that more? Globally, that's the statistics. Are we providing sufficient financing capabilities to these smallholders farmers? Are we bringing in more technology, science and innovation? I'll give you an example. When I was in a different agency, when I was chairing that, we started fertigation system for chili plantation. And guess what happened? When we did the fertigation system, the yield went up by 33% every 3.5 months. And their revenue goes up by 22%. To do that, they probably need about 18 to 20,000 ringgit to do the fertigation system. And we arranged through some banks to provide that particular loans and everything. And guess what? Their bad loans is today still at 0%. They pay everything. The big bourgeois do not pay. The small farmers, they are paying. Why it can be done? It can be done. Now what we need to do, we need to scale it up. We need to go through every other places in Malaysia. This case in point is in Kuala Langat, and they are doing it through the cooperative. I think we have all that. The government is very serious. If you look at our Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who talks a lot about food security and then giving a right level of cost to the people, because the major chunk of people's survivability is food. And what is that? Rice, vegetable, all that. And all this is under our own control. We can do it. We have the technology, science, innovation. We have the abilities. We have the wherewithal from the government. We have the Prime Minister's support. Only that we need to now go on the ministry level, how to execute all those policies, how to execute all these things, how to liberalize to a certain extent, how to encourage the use of technology, science, innovation, how to encourage the youth to come into agriculture sector. If you go to Netherlands, ranked very high. India, ranked very high. Singapore ranked very high. They are very youth-centric policies on agri-space. Are we doing that? These are the questions that you will hear during the conference, during the summit. We have a speaker like Professor Jomo K. Sundaram. And you know, Prof. Jomo is a very big advocate of using technology in the food security space. I think we have a big summit with actionable outcome and impact, just like how Liverpool beat Manchester City yesterday.
Okay, that was a good game also. I want to say definitely we need the cooperation and collaboration from every sector, especially what we are focusing on, the national food security. And Datuk, definitely you've shared a lot from all the challenges that Malaysia need to address in terms of fostering growth and innovation and sustainable development. Probably my last question is I want to ask, how do you think Malaysia can transform the rakyat into innovation-driven contributors to the growth of the economy, social evolutions, and even the global participation?
You see, when I was in China, I met up with their industry captains, whether it's Geely's chairman, whether it's Cherry's CEO president, whether it's Xiaomi CEO president, whether it's even the China's Premier Park, similar to our Technology Innovation Park in Malaysia, or MRANTI in Malaysia. They also have something called Zonghua Chung Park, Z Park, which have created 80 unicorns. And 70% of the 80 unicorns, their market is outside China.
Wow.
Okay. How did they do it? Two things, very simple, just two things. Because I asked all these CEOs and the chairmen, what is that secret sauce that you have? Number one, innovation from the CEO to the janitor. This is the exact word from them, from CEO to the janitor. They live, breathe, work, innovation. Number two, talk less and do more, meaning which execution. So today, China, whether it's in solar, whether it's in EV, whether it's in AV, whether it's in AI, whether it's in agri-tech, they are 30, 40 years ahead of many countries. So I think we need to learn a lot from China, from India, from Sweden, from UK, and get and aggregate good things. And guess what? In any ecosystem, there are four things that people will always look for: access to capital, access to market, access to innovation, and access to talent. Malaysia has that. Only that we now need to gear that towards the right trajectory to achieve the right objective. And this summit is aspired to do that by congregating people who are practitioners. A lot of them are practitioners, some scholars and academicians, ecosystem players, even students.
Okay.
So why?
Yeah.
Because this is the rakyat-centric approach, all-inclusive, nobody left behind. Consistent with what our Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has been always talking about, because at the end of the day, there are five things that the people are looking for: cost of living, quality healthcare, affordable healthcare, quality and affordable houses and homes, quality and affordable education, and dignified salary. So these are the five things that we call loosely as a tummy economy, and this is important. And we hope this summit will be able to address all this practically, not something on the sky or on the space. We want it to be firmly rooted on the ground reality. Use technology, science, innovation to address challenges both nationally and globally.
Well, that's amazing. That's the aspiration and that's the hope. I think you'll be very busy today. If I'm not mistaken, you'll be having a session by your own later.
On AI.
On AI. Again, I want to say thank you very much to Datuk Dr. Rais Hussin Mohamed, the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Malaysian Research Accelerator for Technology and Innovation. MRANTI. Again, I want to say thank you very much, Datuk. I'll see you again. Baik, itu adalah perbincangan yang telah dikongsikan oleh Ketua Pegawai Eksekutif MRANTI sendiri. Apakah antara matlamat tentang iNation Global Summit 2024 kali ini dan bagaimanakah masa depan Malaysia selepas ini. So tentu setiap perbincangan ini akan kami bawakan dan kita lihat acara ini akan bawakan pelbagai inovator, pemimpin, penggiat industri yang akan datang bersama di sini dan kita lihat acara ini akan kukuhkan lagi kerjasama antara mereka untuk bangunkan satu penyelesaian inovatif yang dapat memberi manfaat kepada semua lapisan masyarakat sudah tentu. Dan setiap perbincangan ini akan kami rangkumkan dalam AstroAwani.com dan semua platform digital Astro AWANI. Sekian saja perkongsian di Niaga AWANI pada kali ini. Saya Nina Rozban, salam hormat, kita jumpa lagi.